So now children, we are moving to our next topic, which is related to the rocks only. So as you all have heard about the water cycle, so similarly we have the rock cycle also. So rock cycle deals, it is a cycle of the formation of the rocks. And we have also read that igneous rocks are the parental rocks or the primary rocks. And all the other rock materials, they are originating from the igneous rocks only. So in this rock cycle, we are going to read that lot many other natural processes are also involved in the rock cycle. So the transition or the transformation of rocks from one form to another form is known as rock cycle. So what takes place here? The heating takes place here. Okay, then the compression takes place here, weathering takes place here, erosion takes place here. So the different types of natural processes takes place here. Now we have to start from the stage 1. So igneous rock, everybody have a look at the igneous rocks. So these are the igneous rocks. When they are exposed to the weather changes, okay, weather changes like heavy rainfall or the sunlight, okay. So what happens, these igneous rocks, they are broken into various small pieces, and these eroded materials only, they are giving birth to the sedimentary rocks after transportation, deposition. Here we can see here that these igneous rocks are changing into sedimentary rocks, and when these sedimentary rocks or igneous rocks, they are exposed to excessive heat and pressure, the high amount of heat and pressure, then they again undergo a change and they form a new rock which is known as metamorphic rock. So here we can see that at the second stage, igneous rocks, at the primary stage, igneous rocks are changing into sedimentary rocks when it is undergoing lot many processes, natural processes. And sedimentary rocks at the second stage, they are changing into the metamorphic rock. And those metamorphic rocks which are still under great heat and pressure from this magma chamber. This is a magma chamber present inside the earth at a depth of 300 kilometers. So what happens here, those metamorphic rocks which are still under the great heat and pressure, then they also melt down to form molten magma. And this molten magma again, if cooled down and they solidifies, and then they are forming intrusive igneous rocks. So these intrusive igneous rocks, already we have covered up that they are formed in the interior part of the earth. So this is again, we have seen that how from extrusive and intrusive rocks, the rocks are changing into sedimentary rocks, and then sedimentary rocks again, when they are undergoing heat and pressure, excessive one, they are changing into the molten magma, and again the molten magma, it is changing into igneous intrusive rock. And then this whole cycle, this whole process makes a cycle, as we can see here. The whole process is making a cycle, and this continuous cycle of change of one type of rock into another type of rock is only known as rock cycle. So this is a rock cycle which we have covered up right now. So it takes thousands of years to complete one rock cycle. And now we are going to move to another topic. Rock cycle we have covered up, metamorphic rocks also we have covered up, and now we are going to move over another topic, which are volcanoes. So volcano is a word which is derived from Latin word known as volcanus, and volcanus means Roman god of fire. So this volcano, what is volcano? This volcano is an opening or a vent in the earth's crust that allowing the ash, gas and the other oxide gases and hot magma, volcanic ashes, steam and rock particles escaping from below the earth's surface. That is, all these things, they all move out from the earth's below surface through an opening which is known as vent. As you can see here, this is a vent. The magma that reaches the earth's surface is called lava, and the passage in the volcano through which lava travels is known as vent. The funnel shaped depression around the vent is called crater. Let me show you the well diagram. I'll explain you with the help of a well label diagram. Now this is the well label diagram. So you can see here once again, the volcano is an opening or a vent in the earth's crust that is allowing ash, gas, hot magma escaping from the below the earth's surface. Yes, this is our vent. And the magma that reaches the earth's surface is called lava. Yep. This is lava. And the passage in the volcano through which lava travels is called the vent. And the funnel shaped depression around the vent is called the crater. So this is a crater. This is a cup shaped depression from which the lava comes out. So a volcanic mountain is formed when fierce volcanic eruptions takes place repeatedly. Okay, example we can see in Japan Mount Fuji. It is an example of volcanic mountain. And then we have quite volcanic eruptions also, like in the case of Deccan Plateau in India, that is a quite volcanic eruption. So volcanoes are usually located where tectonic plates are meeting. Tectonic plates. Okay. Just after volcanoes, I am going to cover up what are tectonic plates. So tectonic plates are related to our lithosphere. That is the plates which are found under the lithosphere are known as lithospheric plates or tectonic plates. So what happens? Most of the volcanic activities and earthquakes, they are taking place around the Pacific Ocean. This is a well labeled diagram of volcano, as you can see here. Lots of gases, oxide gases are there, ashes are there, volcanic ashes, steam, rock particles, and they all are forming the clouds. Yes. So volcanoes are usually located where tectonic plates are meeting against each other. And most of the volcanic activities and the earthquakes, they are taking place around the Pacific Ocean. Around the Pacific Ocean, and a total of 452 volcanoes are located around this ocean. And the eruptions in this region have been frequent, very fierce and very violent, and frequently they are taking place. So that is why the belt around the Pacific Ocean is also known as the Pacific Ring of Fire. And significance, now let us see the significance of the volcanoes. Besides serving as popular tourist attractions, volcanoes are also serving to the surface useful minerals we are getting from the interior part of the earth, the magma and the other materials which come out on the surface of the earth as lava. They help in increasing the fertility of the soil. And on the basis of nature and frequency, children, we are having the three types of volcanoes which are active, dormant, extinct. So volcanoes that are erupting frequently are known as active volcanoes. Okay, for example, Mount Etna and Mount Stromboli in Italy, they are active volcanoes. And dormant volcanoes, which are also known as sleeping volcanoes, like Mount Mauna Kea. In the class 6 also you have read about Mount Mauna Kea, which is in Hawaii in USA. So these are the examples of dormant volcanoes because they have become quiet after eruption. And also they have not erupted after a long time. So they are known as dormant or sleeping volcanoes. And the third one is extinct volcanoes, which are dead. These are also known as dead volcanoes. For example, we are having this year we are having that Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. Okay, so they are the examples of extinct volcanoes. And in the year 1883 in Indonesia, Mount Krakatoa, it has erupted in Indonesia. And it had covered the entire sun for the 3 days, and the volcanic dust took at least 1 year to settle down. This all we have covered up, children, right now. And now our next topic is tectonic processes. So let us understand what are tectonic processes. Now, there is a famous professor, German professor, and also he is a meteorologist. He has written a book, The Origin of Continents and the Oceans. And the name of this famous professor is Alfred Wegener. He has mentioned in his book, The Origin of Continents and Oceans, that continents were once joined together as one supercontinent known as Pangaea. Supercontinent known as Pangaea. And then it began to break apart into different plates or into different solid pieces of rocks about 200 million years ago, and it resulted in the drifting apart of the continents from each other. So this is how one supercontinent, it started drifting apart, separating from each other in the form of continents from each other. And this is how the sea floor has also formed. So according to this theory, the lithosphere is divided into several large as well as small irregular shaped plates, okay, which are known as tectonic plates or lithospheric plates, as we can see here. So these are continental or oceanic in nature, and these are floating on the molten mantle or on the molten magma. These are floating continuously, so they are in a state of constant motion. So these tectonic plates are continuously, they are moving, they are sliding. Okay, so many different processes are taking place because they are found above the molten mantle. And the surface of the earth is also, that is why, constantly undergoing many changes due to external changes, due to internal changes. Okay, so external changes are like the agents of wind, water, and internal changes are like very sudden movements are taking place, like volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, landslides. And now we are going to move to our next topic, children. These are the well-labeled diagrams of the volcanoes. Tectonic plates also we have covered up. And now we are moving to our another topic, which are earthquakes. And before that, children, we can see here in this diagram that there are many major and minor plates of the lithosphere. When we are walking on the soil, when we are walking on the land, we cannot see these plates. We cannot see this separation. But it is found below the earth, below the surface of the earth. So now what is an earthquake? So an earthquake is a sudden vibration on the earth's crust. And it is forming due to a natural cause. It is leading to the trembling, which is known as earthquake. It means this earthquake is related to the movement of the tectonic plates. And when these tectonic plates are moving very suddenly above the surface of the molten magma inside the earth, moves in a circular manner. So what is an earthquake finally? An earthquake is a sudden displacement or dislocation. Displacement means moving, something which is moving from its own place. When we also move from one place to another and we shift to another place, it is known as displacement. Okay, so when a sudden displacement or dislocation of the lithosphere along the plate boundaries, it is causing earthquake to occur. Okay, so when the lithospheric plates are moving suddenly under the surface of the earth, then what happens? The earthquake occurs, and this displacement below the surface of the earth is producing the vibrations. They are producing vibrations or the tremors, which are spreading out in all directions in the form of circular waves, and these circular waves are known as ripples. Okay, so this displacement of the lithospheric plates below the surface of the earth are producing vibrations or the tremors, and they are spreading out in all the directions which are just like the similars. Whenever we are throwing a water into the pool or a glass of water, then what happens? What do we see? We see the circular vibrations occurring in the water, in the river water or in the glass. Okay, you can do this experiment at home also. So those circular vibrations are known as ripples. So in the same manner, the ripples are formed, okay, whenever the displacement or dislocation of the lithospheric or tectonic plates takes place along the boundaries of the plates. Now let us see the point. Let me show you one diagram. With the help of our diagram, I'll just show you what are the different points of the earthquake. Now these are some of the disastrous effects which are formed due to the earthquake. This I was telling you, these are the ripples. So this is known as circular vibrations are ripples. And these are the cracks which occur due to the earthquake. And this happens what? Earthquake brings a lot of damage and devastation to the lives of the people and to the property of the people. Yes. So the point below the earth where the vibrations begin is known as focus. So here we have focus. Here we have focus at the bottom. This is focus. Just below my pointer, it is focus. So the point below the earth where the vibrations begin is known as focus, and the point directly above the focus, you can see here, this vertical line is directly moving above the focus, is known as epicenter. So the point directly above the focus on the surface of the earth is called the epicenter. And the vibrations reach the epicenter first, and then it spreads all the directions. As you can see here, ripples. These are ripples, or these are the vibrations which have occurred due to the movement of the lithospheric plates. So the vibrations reach the epicenter first, and then it spreads in all the directions in the form of concentric waves. Now concentric waves are those waves which are having the one common central point, that is here. This is okay. So these vibrations are reaching at the epicenter first, and then these vibrations are spreading in all the directions, known as the earthquake waves or seismic waves or earthquake vibrations. The intensity of an earthquake is maximum near the epicenter. Here, near the epicenter, the intensity we can, another word for intensity is magnitude. So the intensity or the speed or the magnitude of an earthquake is maximum near the epicenter here, and it decreases as it decreases as the distance increases from the epicenter. As we are moving away from the epicenter, its intensity decreases. Okay. So there are three types of earthquake waves: P waves, S waves, L waves. P waves means primary waves. So primary waves are longitudinal in nature, and they are traveling very faster as compared to other waves, and they can pass through solids, liquids and gases. Secondary waves are known as S waves, which are moving at the right angles to the direction of the travel, and these waves can pass only through the solids. And next is L waves. L waves are also known as long waves. So these are also known as surface waves. L waves are also known as surface waves, and surface waves are the most destructive waves. They are causing a lot of destruction, havoc, damage, and they travel along the surface of the earth and are slower than any other waves. So with the help of these waves only, our scientists, they are able to find out the intensity and the magnitude of the earthquake with the help of these waves. Now the question is that how do we measure the earthquakes? Okay, so how do we measure? So the energy released at the time of an earthquake determines its magnitude. Yes. So measurement of the earthquake is our next topic. So the energy releasing at the time of an earthquake determining its magnitude. The magnitude is also called intensity. So the magnitude or intensity of an earthquake is measured on a Richter scale with the numbers ranging from 0 to 9. And the study of earthquake waves is called seismology, as you can see here. Okay. And scientists who study them are known as seismologists. And the instrument which is measured to which is used to detect and measure the vibrations produced by earthquake is known as seismograph or seismometer. And the first modern seismometer was invented by John Milne, an English seismologist, and he was geologist also, and he invented the seismometer or seismograph in the year 1880. And the unit of measuring the earthquake is Richter scale. It is Richter scale. And this Richter scale ranging from 0 to 9. It was developed by the American seismologist known as Charles Richter. So on his name only the name Richter has been derived for this unit. Severe earthquakes which measure 6 and above on the Richter scale, they are causing extreme destruction. And they also lead to a lot of havoc. Havoc means a lot of damage. A lot of means a large number of people they die and their property is also damaged. Houses are broken, houses are falling and damaged. And earthquakes are occurring there only where most plate margins are meeting against each other. Okay, so earthquakes and the volcanic eruptions always takes place where nearby the margins or the boundaries of the tectonic plates, where these plates are pushing against each other or they are going under each other, or one of the plate is moving above against each other. And now children, we are going to have the case study also. And before case study children, let us see first of all that what are the steps which can minimize the impacts of the earthquake and what precautions we can take. Okay, at our if we are indoors, what precaution we can take at our home, and if we are outdoors, what precautions we can take. Okay, so these are the surviving an earthquake means precautions. So as we have learned that earthquake is a sudden natural hazard and it can occur any time in the year without any warning sign, and we cannot predict also. It is unpredictable. So what steps we can take? First of all, the special types of structures and buildings should be developed in those areas, the areas which are earthquake prone areas. Okay, then people should construct earthquake resistant buildings. Then public awareness should be created through training programs. And during an earthquake, people should take shelter under a kitchen counter, under a table. Okay, you should crawl under a table or a desk against an inside corner or wall. And people should stay away from all the fireplaces and also from the switchboards. And do not use the lift also. And also the people, one should stay away from the chimneys, glass windows, mirrors, picture frames. And people should observe some common earthquake prediction signs. Okay, some common signs we can see in the nature only, for example, from animals. Okay, because it is said that animals, they understand in prior only that some natural disaster is going to take place. Especially dogs. Dogs also show some abnormal behavior. Fish in the ponds, they get agitated. Okay, they just through their very fast and swift movement, we can understand that something is going to happen. And the snakes also, they come on the surface. So through this natural science also we should try to understand. And mock drill also can be done in the earthquake prone areas. Now we are going to do the case study children, the earthquake at Bhuj in 2001. This. So case study of Bhuj earthquake 2001, a powerful earthquake of magnitude about 7.7 on Richter scale rocked the western Indian of Gujarat on 26 January 2001. and it has caused a lot of extensive damage to life and property. And this earthquake was very devastating, very destructive. Means it has caused a lot of damage to the lives of the people and property of the people. And the epicenter of the earthquake was located at 23.6 degree north latitude. This I will show in the map also. And this at a depth of only 23 kilometers below surface, this earthquake generated very intense shaking, which was felt 70% in India and also in Pakistan and Nepal. And 21 out of 25 districts were affected by this earthquake. And the affected areas also spread up to 300 kilometers from the epicenter. And more than 30,000 people had died and 1,50,000 people were injured. In the Kutch district, 4 major urban areas, Bhuj, Anjar, Bachau, Ropar, they all have suffered complete 100% total destruction. And the rural areas in this region were also very badly affected and 450 villages were totally destroyed. And some other urban areas also like Rajkot, Jamnagar, they have also suffered suffered damages to the major structures. Ahmedabad, the largest city of Gujarat, was also severely affected. As we can see here, this we have seen, this also we have completed. So this Richter scale also we have completed, children. So here we have the 0 to 9 scale, and this is an instrument seismograph which is used to measure the earthquake. And this is showing, this is how the graph is made. This kind of graph we have seen, this kind of monitor in the operation theater also we have seen in the Discovery channels, like this kind of graph is made. So with the help of the seismograph, this kind of graph is made by showing P waves, then S waves and L waves. This case study also, children, we have completed. This we have seen, this is a real picture of the Bhuj in Gujarat. So Gujarat earthquake is very significant from the point of view of earthquake disaster mitigation in India. Now this is the epicenter, children, here. Epicenter. The epicenter of the earthquake was located at 23.6 degree north latitude and 69.8 degree east longitude. That is about 20 kilometers northeast of Bhuj town at the Kutch district in western Gujarat. And now, children, we are moving to the last part of our chapter, that is landforms created by the land movement. So let us see here what type of landforms are formed here. Let us see. Landforms created by the plate movement. So mountain building. In this topic we are going to read about the formation of the mountains, that is mountain building. So mountain building is also associated with the movement of tectonic plates, that is lithospheric plates. So whenever the two plates are moving towards each other or moving against each other, either they are forming foldings or they are forming faulting. So about the folding and faulting only we are going to read here, folding and faulting. So the collision, when the two plates are colliding against each other, so the collision of the two plates, they lead to the folding of the rock layers. And then as a result of it, what happens? A raised area is formed on the earth's surface because of the collision of the two plates. And this movement is also known as the convergent movement. Okay, when the collision of the two plates takes place. And then these are only known as the folds or the folding. This process is known as the folding. And the folding forms the fold mountains, and they are having the upfolds, then they are having the downfolds, and they also form the valleys. For example, the Himalayas in India, they are known as the young fold mountains. Now, why they are known as the young fold mountains? This reason you have to find out. Even in Alps in Europe, Rockies in North America are the fold mountains. And in the same manner, the faulting also takes place. Whenever the two tectonic plates are moving against or moving away from each other, or they are moving horizontally towards each other. So faulting means cracks. So whenever the two plates are moving apart from each other, means away from each other, then the Earth's crust is developing cracks or faults. Let me explain you with the help of picture. Yeah. Yes. Let us see once again what is anticycline and syncline. So what happens once again in the folding process? The collision of the two plates, they leads to the folding of the rock layers. And this is how what happens. The raised area is formed here on the Earth's crust. Here also you can see these are the foldings. These are the foldings. First folding, second folding, third folding. So these foldings are formed whenever the two tectonic plates are colliding against each other. And these are known as folds, and this process is known as folding. Okay. And these folding is having they folding only form the fold mountains. So they have the up folds. The up folds are known as anticline, and the down folds are known as the synclines. Okay, synclines. And they are also forming the valleys. So in the Himalayas in India are known as the young fold mountains because they are formed through this process of folding only. And young fold mountains are those mountains which are formed less than the period of 100 million years. And the mountains which are formed 500 million years ago are known as old fold mountains. So that is why the Himalayas are known as young fold mountains. And similarly, we have Alps in Europe and Rockies in North America. They all are fold mountains. So these are the fold mountains. You can see now this is faulting. So whenever the two plates are moving apart from each other, the Earth's crust develops cracks or fault. Okay, fault is formed here. As we can see here, fault is formed. So this fault or cracks are formed whenever the two plates are moving apart from each other, away from each other. You can see here, they are moving away from each other. So these faults are forcing some of the blocks to move up, and some of the blocks they are moving down. Okay, and then this is how the valley is formed. The valley is known as graben. A rift valley is formed whenever the rocks are moving down. So this valley is known as graben, and a rift valley or a graben is formed whenever the block of land is moving down. And whenever the blocks is moving up, then it is forming mountains or host. Host means mountains or fault mountains. So whenever the rocks are moving up because of this faulting, it is forming mountains or host. So we are having the mountains in North America. They are the block mountains only. Okay, and now one amazing fact, children. One amazing information for you people. What you can see on the picture. This is a picture of the Australian Fossil Mineral Museum, which is located in New South Wales, Australia. And it is displaying the scientifically significant fossil collection. These are the fossil collections of dinosaurs. Okay, so it is displaying the scientifically significant fossil collection from Australia. Then it also includes 2000 million years old garnets, diamonds. Okay, garnets like diamonds are there, sapphires are there, rubies are there, emeralds are there. We can also find their 3 dinosaur skeletons and their egg fossils also over here in this museum. And now children, you have to find out in this chapter 2 important days are also associated. World Earth Day, which we observe on 22nd April, and World Environment Day, which we have observed very recently on 5th June. So we are observing and celebrating these days in worldwide to raise the awareness regarding the environment protection, to reduce the pollution, carbon emission. So this is all our duty, being a student, being a human being, that we have to protect our earth, because our earth is only providing us all the things for which is a kind of a life supporting system we are getting from the earth. So we get all the necessary things which are very very useful for our sustainable development. So with this children, I have covered up my topic, my chapter number 1, the earth structure and the landforms. I hope you all have understood. So see you again next in the next chapter number 2. Till then, have a good day. Thank you children.